Hi, this is Michael Dennis. Welcome to part 2 of my series of hexatonic scale patterns. So this will be concentrating on page 4 of the PDF that you'll find linked down in the description below the video. So the basic concept here is I'll be showing you how to use these hexatonic scale patterns to improvise over a 2-5-1 progression in the key of G. So today I'll just stick with the key of G, and I'll see if I can do a little bit more exploration of extracting out pentatonic scales out of these hexatonic scales, and also pull out some triads. I'll also be playing along with iReal Pro backing track, and I guess today I'm going to stick with about 100 metronome setting just to kind of keep things a little bit more relaxed. Okay, so I'll just start off right at the top of the page. I'll just play through those examples that are written out on the PDF. So the first one, C, D, E, F sharp, G, A, and then the same thing played backwards. All right, so the idea here is if you take 3 notes, they have 6 different mathematical permutations. So that's what I'm doing here. So the next one, C, E, D. Third measure. And then played backwards. Second line. Now I'm just going to talk briefly about this fourth measure here. So what's going to happen as the chords are coming by, 1, 2, 3, 4, D7, and then I'm going to have 2 bars of the C major, of the G major 7. So what's going to happen? That particular note at the end is going to be dissonant against the G chord. So I'm just going to I'll leave that out. Maybe what I'll do is I'll play it maybe one time just so you can hear how that doesn't really, it's not a good resolution. So what I'll do instead is I'll just cut those phrases 1 note short. So I'll just end on the E, the 6th of the G chord. Okay, this will be the next measure. And then the last measure there, E, D, C. And it has the same idea there, so I'm going to leave out that C note there. So the last measure would be. I'll just land on that note right there. All right, so let's see. I'll just kind of play through this. So whenever the measure is landing on a C, I'll play it one time just so you can see how it's not a very good choice, and then I'll also play it without the C note. So here comes the backing track, and I'll say what measure I'm on: first measure, second measure, third measure, and so on. First measure. Don't try this at home, or train professionals. Okay, here is the first measure. One more time. Next measure. Time. Third measure. Okay, second line. That doesn't sound very good now. I'll leave that out. Okay, one more time on that without the C note at the end. next measure. One more time. And then the last measure there of that section. See how that doesn't sound very good. I'll leave it out this time. I'm going to put a trill on that F sharp note. One more time. 3, 4. Okay, some pretty simple examples there, but you can see how that's C note. So sometimes it's called an avoid note. Let me just do maybe one brief concept before I go on to the next thing. So the other thing you can do with these, you can move these across to different string groups. So I talk a lot about this in my videos, how this set of strings, this set of strings, and this set of strings, you have a similar, an exact fingering. So I won't do every single one of these just so this doesn't get too long. So how about I'll take the very last one, and I'm not going to play the C note. And then another thing, these are really good for throwing in maybe some chord melody ideas. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to, when I land on the C, I'm going to throw an A minor 7th, since that's my progression, A minor 7th, and then D7th, D7th chord, then G major 7, and then here, I'm just going to put the top part of like a G major 7th chord. So one more time, so C, A minor 7, D7. So you can do G major 7th like that, or you can do like that. Let's see what that sounds like. And I'll do some different kind of rhythmic variations, which is kind of what I encourage you to do, to take these basic concepts I'm showing and then kind of do something with them. Again. Down the octave. Okay, so that's just one idea there. So you can throw in chords in the middle of these. Okay, so now talk about extracting out some chords here. So if you look at this pattern, C, D, E, F sharp, G, A, that's a hexatonic scale. You have basically 2 major triads. You have C, E, G, and then D, F sharp, A. So the interesting thing about the guitar, there's a lot of different ways that you can finger those. So I think for this example, I'm just going to play the C chord here, C, E, G, and then the D chord here. So I think what I'll do for the first 2 chords, for the A minor 7th to D 7th, I'll use various permutations of the C major triad, and then when it goes to the G major 7th chord, I'll use D Major Triad. So just like you can do, since this is 3 notes, there's 6 different permutations of each triad. I'll just do those briefly. So C, E, G, C, G, E, E, C, G, E, G, C, G, C, E, and then G, E, C. And then the same thing would be true for that. So the basic concept I'm going to do here, so if I come up with a phrase that I like here, then I'll play it either almost exactly the same or similar, but maybe I'll end it a little bit differently. So just C chord, C triad to a D triad. Okay, so let's go ahead and, okay, actually, before I move those, I'm going to just talk about a concept I've talked about in other videos. A book I read many years ago, a prototype book from Joe Negri and Tim Bedner from Duquesne, when they were at Duquesne University, using they talked about triadic concepts for improvising. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of borrow a concept, one of the concepts they talk about in the book. I think they call it appoggiatura or chromatic connections or chromatic approach. So C, E, G. So each one of these major triads you can approach by a half step below. Okay, then the E, and then the F sharp. And then the same thing for the D chord. Up to the F sharp. Right, so that's a really, really interesting thing. So what ends up happening, I don't want to get into like a whole thing, but you get kind of these, blues notes, flatted fifth, and then flatted third. So that's kind of an interesting sound on the major 7th chord. And then your flatted fifth also. So I'll start off with this, and then I guess I'll also move it to here. So all the same concepts, half step below, and then you can also, just kind of move those around. I'll move it, so I'll move it there, and I'll move it one more spot. I'll move it down to here, C, E, G, and then D, F sharp, A. So I have my half step into the third, half step into the fifth, and then that's a little bit harder. That doesn't sound quite as good. Maybe I'll avoid that one. And then for the D chord, half step into the root, into the third, and into the fifth. Okay. All right. So let's just see what happens here. So C chord, C triad, D chord with the chromatic connection still in the key of G. So obviously all this stuff is movable. The octave. Move it down to here. you can kind of see how that all works. Okay, so I think that's good for that concept. So now I'm going to go on to the second group here. So this is going to be hexatonic scale D, E, F sharp, G, A, B. So I'll just kind of play through just as written on the sheet here. So the first measure. Okay, second measure. Third measure. Fourth measure. Fifth measure. And then the last measure on that page. Okay. So one of the things that I found from doing this, sometimes on that A minor, that first A minor seventh chord, if you just land on the F sharp, it kind of sounds a little bit dissonant. So if you wanted to just kind of slough over that, and then kind of make all those first 6 notes kind of one phrase, that might sound a little bit better, going from the A minor 7 to the D7, D9. Okay, so are there any other avoid? Yeah, so there's really no other avoid notes here. Just that, I think that F sharp. So you're always landing on something that's a consonant. So I think I might have pointed this out in the previous video. D, F sharp, G, A is a G major 7 chord. Okay, so I'll go ahead and play this, with the backing track. Yeah, so I'll play here several times, and then I'll go ahead and move it up to here. And I'll tell you what measure I'm on. So start off with the first measure. First measure. One more time there. Second measure. Third measure. Get third measure again. Fourth measure. Get on that measure. Fifth measure. Measure there. Again. Okay, I'm going to skip up here for right now. Okay, so how about I'll go ahead and introduce the concept of the triads here. So D, E, F sharp, G, A, B, hexatonic scales. So the 2 triads that you can pull out of here are D, F sharp, A, D major triad, and E, G, B, E minor triad. And I think this one, rather than moving it up here, I think I'll just move it down to here. So D, F sharp, A, and then E, G, B. So I'll move it to those 2 places. And then you have the same concept from before. You have the the half step into the root, F sharp, A. Now here, you can do the same thing on the E minor. In the book I was referring to, the Joe Negri book, he doesn't really talk about the minor triad, but I think it sounds pretty good here. So half step into the E, half step into the G, which is just the 9, which is and then you got that flatted flatted fifth note of the E minor. So then what'll happen here? So for the A minor 7th to the D 7th, I'll use the E minor triad along with some the chromatic approaches, and then for the G major 7th chord, I'll just use the D. So it's just kind of interesting. So if you're in a 2-5-1, you can use the major chord built on the flatted third of the A minor, and then for the G you can use the major triad built on the fifth, and then the same. And then here, for the A minor 7th to D, you can start with the triad that starts on the fifth of the A, and then the fifth of the G. All right. So okay, so let's see how this goes here. D. I'll go down to here. Okay, so you get the idea of that. Okay, I think to start to wrap this up, I often like to use octaves when I'm soloing in jazz. It just kind of just sounds thicker. It sounds like you're doing more than you're really doing. So how about I'll come to here, E, G, B, G, E. That's going to be for the A minor 7 to D 7, and then D, F sharp, A. Right, so I could have gone across the fretboard. So the only reason I'm doing this is so I don't have to change my fingering. So, but you can certainly do E, G, B, or you can do it here, E, G, B, D, F sharp, A, or you can do it here, E, G, B, D, F sharp, A. So a lot of different places that would work. Okay, so E, G, B, D, F sharp, A. Okay, so I think I'll use this as part of my kind of ending improvisation. So I'll start off with this concept, E, G, B, D, F sharp, A, using the chromatic, and then I'll just kind of see what happens. Okay, so thanks for listening and watching this video. You can download the PDF that has a lot of different patterns. I won't be covering page 1 and page 2, because I always am interested in doing other things. So I'll go on to other different projects that I'm looking at with maybe analyzing some piano music and relating it to the guitar, and doing different covers of songs and things like that. Okay, here it goes. Ending improvisation. We'll see what happens.